Welcome to another week of Huddle Up here on Northwest Access TV. I'm your host, Paul, and to my right, JT and Dustin, and to my left, a special guest, Mr. Nick Mumley, fresh from Linden State College. Oh yeah, on break, Thanksgiving. I know it well. You know it well. You know it somewhat well. We don't talk about that. Anyway, special edition here. We're on Tuesday morning, not Thursday morning, so don't get your turkey ready just yet. We still got a couple days, but we want to be able to get a show in for this week, talk a little bit football, talk a lot bit about some Thanksgiving food power rankings, since we don't have Bryce to do
This is the only problem I'm going to say now, though, with that, is we're all going to end this show and be starving.
Oh, extremely hungry. I'm already hungry. I'm hungry after Halloween. I'm going, oh man, turkey's coming.
Paul's already eyeing turkeys like the night after Halloween. He's in hand.
I made a Thanksgiving dinner like 2 weeks ago. I was so excited.
Yeah, we did too.
Yeah. Okay. So let's begin our show with something that we love to start it off with: show starters. I'm gonna start with mine. I was watching the NFL Sunday in general, and they were showing what was it called? Edelman and Amendola in Mexico, and they're showing them doing these. They're showing them wrestling, they're showing them skateboarding, and doing all these things, and I'm going, what the hell is he doing? Thinking that they did this on the bye week. I didn't realize they did it in June. So I'm watching this going, why is he doing, he's jumping off the top rope, if he can do that, why isn't he running routes for Brady? And I'm going crazy. My dad and I are like, they must have taped this early. I'm like, they must have taped this early. And sure enough, we didn't find out till that evening with Jim Nantz saying, oh yeah, and Amendola and Edelman were in Mexico this past June. I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I'm just freaking out like, what is he doing?
They showed a highlight of that a few weeks ago, or like a preview of it, and talked about when it was in June. So you must have just
I just missed them saying June in general. I'm like, why is he skateboarding and he's playing with tigers?
Paul saw Edelman healthy and he just got so excited.
The saliva started. Like, we're winning the Super Bowl again.
I look at it, Amendola could probably make a better career doing that than what he's doing.
It was
on the
fun to
football
watch.
field.
I liked some of the stuff they were doing.
They were funny.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked their fiasco in the hot air balloon. That was my favorite. When Amendola looked at the guy and says, "How do we steer? How do we turn?" He goes, "Oh, I have no control." And they just crash landed. And it's like, okay, we're done with this. Dustin, let's head over to you. Stick with football.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the biggest news off the field this week, which is Jerry Jones going up against the NFL. The whole Roger Goodell contract extension saga. There was a great ESPN article that came out. I know you sent it to the group chat that we have, so I'm assuming you read it. And Bryce read it.
I just sent clickbait.
You know,
I don't actually read it.
You never know. It really went in deep to the power struggle that's going on in the NFL right now, and I find it interesting for a lot of reasons, because if Jerry Jones gets his way and gets Roger Goodell out, which I don't think will happen, but there's always the small chance, the CBA negotiations are going to be wild.
I think we're all kind of a little excited for the CBA negotiations.
It's going to be...
Well, sort of. We're probably going to miss some football.
We're probably going to...
Condensed season, 5 weeks, all out. It'd be fantastic.
That would be fun.
You just play the people in your division. For the Patriots, I'm fine with that.
That's 4 easy wins.
I'm sure the players would be opposed to that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I just find
and they each get a bye week still. We'll make it fair.
I find it really interesting because this is the first time, since I think the Donald Sterling saga, where we actually got a good look inside of the owners' rooms of a league. And I always like looking and seeing, okay, so these are the power struggles. Arthur Blank, the Falcons owner, and Jerry Jones, the Falcons played the Cowboys 2 weeks ago, didn't even talk to each other, didn't even give each other a handshake during the game. So just an interesting read. I want to see how it goes. It seems like it's dying down a little bit, but
I don't think it's even
not
close
dying
to
down.
dying
But
down.
Jerry
It's
Jones
just getting
is
started.
Jerry Jones is crazy. So I enjoy when the crazy man wants to sue.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Shock.
I want to see what happens
also
to
on this TV station.
Used to be, yes.
So I'm just gonna pop some popcorn and watch this come out.
Speaking of power struggle, we got power football. JT says it's back.
I say it's back. Within the league, I mean, every couple of decades, you can kind of see football kind of change from passing league to a running league and back and forth. But you are watching more and more teams, even with veteran powerhouse quarterbacks, with a two-back set just rushing the football. Tennessee, two-back set with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry.
They call it
you look
erotic
at New
smash
Orleans with Drew Brees as your quarterback, and you're powering the football down with Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. I mean, and they're not the only two teams doing it. I mean, Pittsburgh went to a running team. I mean,
Well, we saw the success of it last year with Atlanta as well.
oh, absolutely.
Coleman and Freeman.
And you see the
The Patriots were that weird fantasy drafter that just decided to take all running backs. So they're doing it as well.
well,
They've got 4.
the Patriots.
Actually, they have
you've
5. I think
never
Bolden's
known.
still there, too. Go on.
Patriots. Anyway, and then on top of that, you look at the struggle for quarterbacks now in the league. We had over 40 picks in 1 week of football.
Tom
Like-
Savage played Blaine Gabbert. That is your struggle for quarterbacks.
Hey, there's one quarterback out there that's still looking for a job that could very well fit in on any team.
Nice transition.
His name is Tebow, but we'll get to it later.
Oh, good fake.
So we'll talk a little bit about Power Football Is It Back when we go over the last week and we talk about the upcoming playoff Thanksgiving games. Nick, for first time, we're actually going to talk about, I think, NASCAR. I think you brought
Second
up...
time. This is the
Second
second time we've
I
talked
thought
about
you had brought up,
NASCAR.
but I couldn't remember.
So you and I can take a nap, right?
Yeah, so we can
You
take a
guys
little
can take
break.
a nap. We can actually
All
take the
right.
show over.
So-
So over the weekend, basically, there was the championship race for the NASCAR Cup Series, and some are calling it the biggest race in 25 years. You had a lot of like the old stars of the last 20 or so years retiring. You had 3 people running their last race, and then you had a great championship battle, and there's a lot of young drivers, so it's like a transition period for NASCAR, and it was just a huge race. And Dustin, I don't know.
Yeah,
if you
well,
have
it's really
anything to add to
interesting.
that.
See, because Dale Jr., NASCAR's most popular driver since 2003, is no longer going to be
Interesting
racing.
stat.
Look, we were already
Not
giving
since
this-
2003. He didn't win this year.
I think he'll
Going
win
to,
this.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
going to win
Definitely.
this.
He
year.
said he didn't win this year.
Well, it hasn't been announced this year yet, but
He'll win it
you know,
just because he's leaving.
Dale Jr. retiring along with Matt Kenseth, the last true points champion, according to old school NASCAR fans before they implemented a new playoff system. Matt Kenseth was the last
There's
one
a
that
playoff
actually.
system in
Yes,
NASCAR?
there is a playoff system.
Sorry, I'm so green when
Very
it comes to
confused.
this.
Well, it's interesting because there's a lot of people I know who are very green about it and have watched a
It
few
can't
races
be as
this year.
confusing as the CFB.
No, it is not as confusing as the CFB.
How much longer does Jimmy Johnson have? He's got to be getting
I'd say
close.
2 years.
Yeah, 2
I think
3
that's
years.
it. Yeah, I
I
think
thought he was a lot younger.
No, he's old.
He actually had his worst season this year and
Yeah.
locked into the playoffs with 1 win. But it was a big race, and I think we're entering the golden age of NASCAR because we have about 5 or 6 really good young drivers coming up that are going to be a lot of fun to watch that can pull some fans in that may have stopped watching. And also, they've kind of reworked how races go. It's no longer just 500 straight laps. They broke it up into stages, which makes it much more watchable in the sense of, you can watch the first stage or the second stage. They run the whole race, and the third stage is your final stage of the race, and, wins. But they've broken.
Wait, the final stage, the last stage?
They've broken
You
it up.
set that up
They've
pretty
broken
good.
it up. They've broken it up,
Little
so it's a
softball
lot
for us.
more accessible to people who don't
Yeah.
have 5 hours to watch a
Yeah,
race
personally,
anymore,
personally, as a NASCAR fan who's been watching for years, this year was the most exciting year that I can remember since I was 5 or 6 years old.
Which wasn't too long ago.
And people say they hate the stage
into it.
racing, but I actually like it because it provides a reason to watch the middle of the race.
At
But-
first, I was kind of skeptical about it, but as the season went on, it made because I would often just fall asleep during the races.
NASCAR nap. You always get your
And
NASCAR
I would
nap.
take a
NASCAR
NASCAR
nap.
nap Sunday
I fell
afternoon
asleep
after
at
lunch.
the track.
How did you fall
At the
asleep?
track.
How
Fun
could
Fun
you do
fact,
that?
fun
At
fact,
the
and I
track.
bet you can't believe this about me. I've never been to a NASCAR race before.
I will say that going to a NASCAR race is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I hadn't
now,
either until
I caught
this year.
a
My grandfather
tiny
used to put it-
article. Is Danica Patrick done?
Yeah, she also left, and that's almost as big as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in my opinion. Wasn't as good of a driver. She never won or anything, but for female drivers, it was absolutely groundbreaking because you see, you go to the track now and you see a whole bunch, you see girls dressed in all this Danica Patrick stuff, and it's, for a long time, NASCAR was just completely white males. Nobody was watching it or driving it except for white males. Now coming in this year, you have a rookie, Bubba Wallace, who's the first African American to drive it a very long time.
The only
And-
other time we've talked about NASCAR on the show.
That was it. That was it.
That was Bubba Wallace.
remember.
No, you got Kyle Larson, an Asian American driver of descent. You have you had Danica. You're getting
Daniel
a lot more.
Suarez,
Daniel
Mexican.
Suarez from Mexico won the Mexican. I don't know what the name of it is, but the
Yeah.
NASCAR has a Mexican touring series. And it's starting to get really interesting. I think we're heading into the golden age of NASCAR with these drivers bringing in
And
other fans.
Monster Energy's a title sponsor, so it's bringing in a younger fan base, which is exactly what it needed.
My one question to that, though, is with how...
You have one question?
Just one question. I've seen a lot of interest go towards like the road racing over the NASCAR. Is it the golden age of NASCAR, or is NASCAR working itself
I was going to say,
out?
can we add like a jump to NASCAR? That was my question. We had like one jump to NASCAR. So like on the straightaway, just add like a little bump, make it a little more interesting.
There is a series called Supercross that does that.
Lovely.
They race on tracks.
See,
with
that
trucks.
I can get into.
NASCAR
A
has
little
added
danger, a little more danger. I know they're already going like 200 miles an
NASCAR
hour.
is
but-
slowly starting to add some more road courses. They added a bunch in their lower tier series, the Xfinity and the Can't Make a World Truck Series. They've added like 3 or 4 road courses, and they're slowly getting there at the very top series of adding more road course races. That's why I say the golden age, because in 10 years you'll probably have 5 or 6 road course races on the circuit that'll make it so anybody can watch.
Let's bring it a little local here. There's another Vermont sport that that is going to be implemented here. I mean, we're talking about like the additions of NASCAR and stuff like that. In Vermont, the VPA just approved Ultimate Frisbee as a high school sport. So we're going to see. I think they set up to 20 or 30 high schools are going to take on this sport.
Yeah.
Where was this when I was a kid?
I'm not a runner, clearly, but I've watched my brother play it the last 10 years or so, and it's a lot of fun to watch. I absolutely love it. You basically get a bunch of cross-country kids that can jump. That's what you're watching right now.
So I have actually a local connection to this, and I didn't know you were talking about this.
It's on one of our show
today.
topics. If you watch the rundown, you'd know.
Hey, maybe I was driving around last night doing a bunch of errands.
You weren't.
No,
were
you said
sleeping
you were
because you had a
sleeping.
headache.
I had a headache. Went up, had to go to Hannaford's, had to go get some food, and
Day
then
in the
that's when I
life
had
of
the
Dustin.
idea.
It's Hannaford. It's Hannaford.
Hannaford's, whatever.
You
No
should
S.
get to 2 of them.
I don't care. One of my friends, Theo Vetter, he was one of the guys leading the charge of making Ultimate Frisbee a sport in Vermont. And I was talking to him the other day, and he's just so relieved that it's finally a varsity sport.
This will be one of those sports that I
it's
send
really
a videographer to for Northwest Access TV during whenever it's going to be played, probably the spring or something
season.
like that. I completely would do commentary for that. It's
Well,
so much
and the
fun.
thing about it becoming a varsity sport, it's the same thing that happened with volleyball, is that now schools can budget funding for coaches, and coaches are not losing $500 to $1,000 because they want to coach something they love. That's the big thing, because when a sport gets VPA sanctioning, now, for volleyball, Ultimate Frisbee, I'm trying to think of other smaller sports that have been that have come to light in Vermont the last couple of years. But for these sports, now they can go to the schools, and the school can say, okay, we're throwing this into our varsity sports budget. And these sports are very self-sustaining.
I think it's more of just a change of your traditional sports. Now you're going into your more non-traditional but popular sport. I think that's why lacrosse has succeeded so well the last 5 or 6 years. It's becoming more popular, and it wasn't 10, 15 years ago, but now it is. So I think you're just kind of you're seeing this transition in high school sports in Vermont where, okay, there's interest here, let's pick it up. I mean, same thing you said about volleyball. There's a lot more teams that are doing volleyball as well. I actually thought field hockey was a dead sport in Vermont, not knowing that there were 3 divisions of field hockey in Vermont, which kind of threw me for a loop. I didn't realize that. I thought it was more of a southern New England type of thing. So Ultimate Frisbee, I think in the state that kind of everyone labels as that hippie state, it's about time, I think, that we had Ultimate Frisbee as a varsity sport. And I think it's funny that I don't think we're one of the first states to do it. But
no, we are the first
we're
state.
The first
we're
state?
the first state in
That's
America
perfect.
to varsity to give it a
Absolutely
varsity
perfect.
level.
That's pretty cool.
So
yeah.
I think next will be disc golf, which is just as fun.
Yep.
If not, I like disc golf more because I don't have to cover anybody. That's I like that a whole lot. If for anyone who hasn't played Ultimate Frisbee, I hope that you're in great shape and your lungs are doing well because it's nonstop running.
Or be prepared
the entire
to
time.
crash.
Yeah. Couple other show topics I want to get to. I will get to the NFL playoff picture in a little bit. This last week, Pats in Oakland, Lynch, and I actually didn't know this until it started getting tweeted out through social media and stuff like that. And I watched the game and everything too, but Marshawn Lynch sat down during the U.S. national anthem, but stood for the Mexican national anthem. Is this one of those, okay, I'm protesting things, or is this just one of those Marshawn being Marshawn? Because that's how I saw it first, was like, he's just being an idiot. Like, I'm not going to necessarily blame him for this. I think he's just being stupid.
I think it's a good combo of both. I think
He's not someone I look at as like the poster child of protest.
No, he has been very public with his dislike for Trump.
And everything.
So-
honestly. If you want to go back a few years, his dislike for just everything
I
that's
didn't
not
really think
Marshawn.
Marshawn Lynch
Marshawn
likes
Lynch,
Skittles.
like-
He likes Skittles.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
about
that's
it.
it. I didn't
Skittles
feel
and
like-
video games.
Honestly, I think this was a very little combo of both. It was a little bit of a, there you go, Trump, and a little bit of, hey, look at me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just who he is. I mean, and he's done that.
He's a
for
fool on the sidelines,
decades.
and he's been doing it all year.
And he's been sitting all year for the national anthem. This is not a new development in Marshawn Lynch. The only thing that is new is that the president
for the
tweeted
Mexican
like
anthem?
5 seconds afterwards. And that, you know.
Of course he's watching it because his best friend, Robert Kraft, his team was playing.
His
so of
best
course-
friend. But, like, you know, I see Marshawn Lynch. He wasn't really even paying attention during the Mexican anthem anyway. He was getting his pad strapped in, so.
Yeah.
I really, you know.
Well, let's continue it. LeBron James finally chimed in. I shouldn't say finally chimed. I'm actually surprised he hasn't done it before. About the fact that Kaepernick hasn't been signed, and he believes that the NFL's blackballing Kaepernick. And this got brought up in a conversation between our friends last night. It was one of those, you know, try and bait someone into talking about it. But my thought was, at the beginning of the year with Kaepernick, every team had their set quarterback. Like, they have a plan going into the season. They also have their planned backup quarterback. Now, I get that week 5 and 6, we're starting to get a little dicey here because a lot of veteran quarterbacks are going down, the backups are struggling. But are you really going to bring in a new quarterback off the street and try and learn and try and fit your offense to his ability? I think people forget that Kaepernick is a specialty quarterback. He's not someone that's going to sit in the pocket and sit
you're
there
running
for 30,
a huge
45.
risk on him.
Right.
He's not a healthy quarterback.
So he's a specialty quarterback. He's that Tim Tebow-esque type of quarterback, or I mean, even someone.
Can we not put him in the same category as
But
Tim
he
Tebow?
is. He's a run-first quarterback. He really is. He's
We
an
like
outside the
Tebow.
pocket
We don't
kinda
like
guy.
Kaepernick.
That's very true. I'm just saying, like, it's one of the. Everyone's saying, like, oh, he's blackball, but like, if I'm a GM, I'm probably not going to take. I'm more likely to take a chance on someone who's just going to be that pocket passer that fits well in our. You can simplify the offense, then give it to Kaepernick, who's going to blow it up every play. If he doesn't see what he likes, he's going to take off.
I mean, honestly, you look at some of the quarterbacks that are going to get trotted out, and you think you're going to take Tom Savage or Blaine Gabbert over Colin Kaepernick because they can sit in the pocket and take a sack and fumble the ball. You're going to tell me
But
that
even you
like,
said you wouldn't want Kaepernick on the Houston team.
No, I changed my mind on that.
When did you change your mind on
I
that?
don't know why
4
you
weeks
would want
when Watson
Kaepernick.
got hurt is when I changed
When's
my
the
mind on
last
that.
time Kaepernick was good
But
in
even if
football?
Kaepernick were to come into
5 years
Houston,
ago.
even if he would come back and play for Houston, he wouldn't. It still would have taken weeks to get to where you would want him to be, and by then it'd be like now.
Yeah.
Now is when he would start to probably do well, and your season's already in the tank.
But that's not the point. You look at a guy who has not played good football in years.
16 touchdowns and 4 ends last year. What are you saying? He hasn't played good football.
That's not
in
good
years?
football,
Like,
Dust. 16
7
touchdowns.
games.
16 touchdowns.
Yeah, in 7 games as a starter, I believe, or 11 games. As
Was
a
he
11
good?
games.
No, he was not good. He lost a ton
It's more
of
than
weight.
just stats. If you watch actual game
Yeah.
film of Colin Kaepernick, it's nothing you really like. It's not something that you're excited about.
The guy has an absolute cannon. There's no argument there. But after he went on his little healthy change me thing, he changed. His game style changed. And so his football skills went way down. On top of that, he is a risk for health. If you're a running quarterback, you need to sustain a hit. He's not built like Russell Wilson. He's not built like Cam Newton. He's built like RG3. Hit me and I break.
But last year, after he came in, after he won his starting job back, he didn't get hurt for the rest of last year. Like
He didn't play well either.
I think he played okay for Chip Kelly's offense that ran 2 teams into the ground.
I feel like your complete argument is just forget it because you said Chip Kelly.
Well, I just do you want to take a quarterback that played under Chip Kelly's offense last year and still did okay for being
But
on
doesn't
one of
that
the worst
mean to
teams
say,
in the league?
doesn't that kind of add to the point that he would only do well in a Chip Kelly offense?
No, I
Guess
don't
who's
think
not
he
a
would-
coach right now
He
in
did,
the NFL?
He did
Chip
well
Kelly.
in Jim Harbaugh's offense.
Yeah, I
he
think
did
that-
very well in Jim
yeah.
Harbaugh's offense. And I think if you put him on a team that we're talking about power and
different
you're
then.
talking
Wait,
about
but that's what
power
I'm getting
running
at.
being
But that's what I'm
back.
getting at. Jim Harbaugh's not in the NFL right now. So
There are
you
a lot
have-
of NFL coaches that could take a guy like
that don't
Colin
run a
Kaepernick.
chip. They don't run that
But
kind
they
of
could
offense.
take a guy
that
that
don't,
has
that
the
don't
cannon of
need
an
him.
arm.
That don't need him. There's other teams, yes, that run that similar offense.
I don't
but they
understand how you
They
could
don't
have
need that option.
a guy like you can say, oh, a guy like Blaine Gabbert should be your starting quarterback when somebody.
Bruce Arians does not run the same offense as those coaches.
Offenses change.
But I'm saying they don't want to take
You're
that
not going to
risk.
change your offense
I'm saying they don't want to
completely
take that
midway
risk on
through the
changing
season.
the whole offense for one season. Doesn't make any
I
sense.
think that there's a lot of terrible quarterbacks in the league that I think Colin Kaepernick is a lot better than Josh McClown. I think Colin Kaepernick's a lot better than Deshaun Kaiser throwing 7 innings. I think there's
Okay,
a lot
not
of
even Kaepernick wants to play in Cleveland. So don't even go there.
But there are quarterbacks, and also like the Titans, for example. When Marcus Mariota went down, why didn't they give Colin Kaepernick a
Last
call?
year?
Because he was down.
This year, he would have fit in that system.
He was
would
only
have
down for
obviously
a
fit in
game
that
or
system.
two.
Right.
But they should have at least brought him in.
No,
for a
it
game.
doesn't
Why,
make any
why
sense.
would you?
You can't bring,
because
yeah,
if
you
you
can't bring
know
You
somebody
already
in.
have your backup.
If you
You
know
already
that
have your backup. Dustin.
Matt Castle. Matt Castle is your backup. Matt Castle's not winning you a single
Tennessee's
football game.
6-4. If they bring in Kaepernick at the beginning of the year, maybe that's not the same case.
You can't
think-
bring
didn't
him
Castle
in
win
for
one of those
a week.
games?
No, but if you are going to say that he is not being blackballed somehow, let's look at the backup quarterbacks in the league. Let's look at some
Different
of the
styles of football.
I think,
You're
that-
not
I think that's
going
what
to
you're
change
glazing
it.
over too. Is that you can't just put a quarterback with his specialty into a system that
Yeah.
not made for him.
You're not going to change your
You
system.
can't do it right
I'm not
away
saying
either.
the NFL's not blackballing him. I'm just coming up with the reason why I think it wouldn't fit.
No, I think if you put him in the Titans system at the start of training camp, he could be the backup quarterback for the Titans. I think there are a
that's
bunch.
fair, yeah.
I think there are a bunch of teams where, look, I'm not saying you
You
have
don't need
to.
him though.
You want to trot out. So you have a whole training camp to get Matt Castle ready to be your backup, knowing Marcus Mariota last year got hurt. This year was coming back from, what was it, a back injury or something? What was it that he hurt last year?
But he was healthy in
leg.
training camp, Dustin.
But the point I'm trying to make is, you know your quarterback is a risk to take another hit and be out, because Marcus Mariota is also a running style
But if
quarterback.
the GM, if
Do
the
you wanna
front
put-
office feels that Matt Castle is a valid backup, just a backup, in that sense, why would you take a risk on a third quarterback?
I'm saying you would bring in someone like Kaepernick, who has the
I'm
ability
saying
to
that-
run and
I'm saying that
be able to adapt
The
to your
political part of
system.
this is absolutely part of it. I'm completely
Definitely,
agreeing
yeah.
with that. But I'm saying, why add on to one? Okay, we're taking on that. Everyone, look at us. That spotlight of we're taking on Kaepernick. But two, we don't really need to at the same time.
Spotlight
We're
is
fine.
there for 2 or 3 weeks.
It's not there for 2 or
Yes,
3
it
weeks.
is. When Michael Sam came out as the first gay NFL player ever, and it was all the media circus, the
Vastly
media
different
circus.
thing.
Completely
No,
different.
the media circus
Completely
is
different.
way overblown.
Completely
because by the
different.
time week 2,
Two
week
different,
3, week
absolutely
4
two
comes in,
different things.
you
You're
are not
talking about
these things
one
anymore.
person, and then you're talking about someone that's
The
representing.
Tim Tebow media circus, when he was brought into the picture, you heard from him for
He
like a week.
won games. What do you
But
expect?
Kaepernick made it to a
Kaepernick is-
Super Bowl.
Kaepernick's been a 2-year conversation that can't freaking die.
When did they go to the Super Bowl? 4 years ago.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about now.
Now, I think he could be a suitable backup quarterback in this league.
You just went from saying he could win a Super Bowl, could win a Super Bowl, but now he's a valid backup.
I mean, he's better
How is
than
he a valid backup?
No, the point I've been trying to make is that he's better than about 10 quarterbacks that are being trotted out as starters right now, because these starters that are being trotted out, such as Josh
you
McCown.
can't pick him up
Yeah.
off the street right
Nobody's-
now.
yeah, nobody's
and
gonna
do it.
sign
Not
him in
now.
the
We're in
offseason.
week 12 of the NFL. You're not going to pick up.
Obviously, you can't pick him
Kaepernick.
up in week 12, but in week 4, week 5, when
We're
quarterbacks started
quarterback-
going down.
That's what I said already.
That's when he
You're
should
trying to reiterate a comment I've already made.
No, but LeBron is chiming in, and this
Yeah,
is what we-
late. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, okay. If you're saying LeBron is chiming in late, I agree with you there. But I think Kaepernick should have been given a chance to be a backup quarterback going into this year, because he's better than some of the quarterbacks that are being trotted out as starters on a week-to-week basis.
But there's 2 points there. First of all, he's definitely being blackballed. That was kind of a given. That storyline, if I was an NFL owner, I would not want to take on that drama. That's just common sense.
Yeah,
that
I
is
feel
what
the
it
same
is.
way.
And
But
the
at
other
the
part
same
is,
token,
and the same thing, just to add on to the general manager aspect of it, you don't have to sign someone.
no.
If you're like, you know what, he's not right for an organization,
And
he's
it's
not
a
right for the play,
backup.
you don't have to do that.
We're not talking about a starting quarterback. We're talking about a backup
There's
guy.
no equal opportunity employment here in the NFL. It's if you want that guy, you don't have to have that guy.
Nobody knows what it would be like if he was in the locker room, because you have people in the NFL that completely disagree with what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
He could. I think if he came on as a backup, he'd end up being more of a distraction than anything else.
Similar to Tim Tebow, honestly.
Yeah, because like you'd have people worrying more about your backup quarterback than your actual production on the field, which just and owners don't want that, obviously, and I think that's why he's.
And that's that was my point of like, there's no equal opportunity here. You don't have to
if
hire
I'm an
someone
owner,
if you don't
I
want
think
to.
if I'm an owner and I'm looking at some of the quarterbacks that are out there and saying I need a backup quarterback that could, in a pinch, come in and win me a couple games. I think everybody likes to overblow the NFL media circus, because there's this hype on this, that. it goes away after a couple weeks. And if Kaepernick comes in and throws for 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and wins a football game, nobody is going to be saying, "Oh, he's a distraction in the locker room anymore," because he came out and won you a game as a backup quarterback.
False. I think
he did last year. He won a football game,
Right.
and it didn't matter. It doesn't stop that controversy.
So
this
even-
is a controversy well above and beyond being gay or
So even
whatever.
with half the teams protesting a couple weeks ago, you still think bringing him in is such a distraction, even though
Yeah, because
there's
the
more
other
than
half
half
of
the
the
Are we
league of players
talking
that
about
agree
this
with him?
situation on a local scale now? Are we having colleges kneel during events? It is a big scenario. It doesn't die. This isn't over. It's not going to end. And at the end of the day, you look at a quarterback who, yes, he could come in and be better than some other quarterbacks. But if you are not willing to accept the simple fact that he only fits into a play style of maybe 5 teams,
Yeah,
I think that's,
doesn't matter that he's
that's
better.
what you're not seeing right now, Dustin.
I
honestly.
think if you bring him in at the beginning of the season, the media circus does not get as big as the media circus gets, because it dies out after a preseason. Because he comes in, earns a roster spot during preseason. You know, if he comes in preseason, just sucks and doesn't earn a roster spot, throws like 4 picks in a preseason game, then you cut him. Then there's no debate about, well, he could still play quarterback because he came in, he sucked, he got cut. I think if your team would have taken a chance to bring him in and look at him because he just wanted workouts too. I think he only got 1 workout, and that was the Ravens. I don't even know what the Ravens story was because
I didn't even think he worked out for them.
It's like
I think there was talk that
I think he just wanted a workout. Like, I think he should have been brought in for a workout because what's it going to hurt? What type of distraction is it going to cause to bring him in for a workout and see if he's good enough? Like, when a quarterback like Deshaun Watson goes down and Bill O'Brien has already changed his system, and you bring in Matt McGloin to be your backup quarterback for a week, you bring in a guy who can't even make it on any team. Like, what is the harm in bringing this guy in for a workout to see can he still play football?
Because you still have to spend weeks on weeks to get him prepared. This is a reason why we haven't seen Jimmy Garoppolo in the 49ers yet after their 2 games. And now they're on a bye, I think.
I
or
thought
they're
he's
playing
starting next week.
Okay, there's the rumor, but John Lynch even said recently there's no rush to bring Jimmy Garoppolo in. I don't think they want to, because if something happens and they come in, I think they'd rather sign him, extend his contract, keep him healthy, maybe get him a couple looks this year, but I can't imagine why would you want to send him out against Seattle of all teams.
Especially when you're in competition.
Well, now
for
that
first
Sherman
pick.
and Thomas are out,
It doesn't matter.
matter.
That team is a hard-hitting team.
If you're San
Dustin.
Francisco, you don't want wins right now. You're in a
you're
situation.
tanking, to
Yeah,
be quite
you
honest.
want.
not only are you
You're not
for the
tanking.
first-
You're
first
protecting
pick.
your future.
yeah, if you think he's your quarterback of the future, you're not going to play
You're not
him.
going to play him this year at all.
I would like to see him
Honestly,
play just to see if he is the quarterback. I don't know. I am very wary of giving somebody that big contract who's taken, 15, 20 NFL snaps total? Like, it just seems...
They gave up a 2nd-round pick. That's it, man.
This is one of those-
I know it doesn't seem like a lot, and it really isn't. It's a 2nd-round pick. That's all they got for him. I mean, the
for
Patriots,
season backup.
However, if
for-
they do re-sign him, though,
and
that'll
if
be a bigger
he goes out,
investment.
they're
Look
1-9
at
right now. If they
Osweiler.
double their wins next year, it's technically already a win.
Well, Nick said it. It kind of reminds me... this reminds me of a situation that might turn out like the Brock Osweiler or the Mike Glennon contract, where it is, you got this backup quarterback that's known, some teams are going at him hot, comes out, actually has to play, ends up not being worth the
The only
contract.
thing that
I
I'll
don't
argue
know.
there is Brock Osweiler I'll put into a different category because the entire time he played, I said he sucked.
Yeah,
you have a
you're right,
6'7" quarterback who throws the ball at shoulder height, so it's at hand reach of everybody in front of him. He never used his height. His accuracy was never all that good. Jimmy G had good potential.
I think the promise with Jimmy G is you have Kyle Shanahan.
Kyle Shanahan is a
And
very
the
good
fact that you have
coordinator.
him as your coach, right?
Coach and offensive coordinator. He's doing
coordinator.
both.
And you're under Tom Brady.
Right, and you've been mentored for years under
Yeah,
the greatest
it's like,
quarterback
what,
of all
third or
time.
fourth
So
year that he's
And like
been
every quarterback
in the
that's come out
system.
of that Patriots system, with the exception of Ryan Mallett, has been able to do okay for himself. Matt Castle has been able to do okay for him.
I feel like he said before.
But Matt-
that they're
before-
You
all
just said
trash.
like 10
before
minutes ago.
Matt Castle,
All
Matt
trash.
Castle's
before he
terrible.
declined. I'm talking about Kansas City.
we need to rewind
I'm
tape
talking
here.
about
Like
Kansas City.
I feel like I go every week back for like the last 10
But if
weeks.
you're
You
gonna-
telling me that every quarterback under Tom Brady was terrible.
They haven't been good, but they haven't been terrible. They've
Oh
been
my God,
replacement level.
Dustin.
Hoyer got the Texans to the playoffs. Castle had a
I
couple
might
good
have to
years with the
devote a whole
Chiefs.
day to find these.
Yeah,
recordings.
because you have
You've
talked
said
about
it
how bad
on
Hoyer
multiple
is.
occasions.
How
Yeah,
bad
he was
is
bad
Hoyer?
when he was
A quarterback
bad.
that we're looking to.
still got a team to the
quarterback that we're looking
playoffs.
to next year. I want to talk about Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma State.
Love it.
So he gets. This is what I don't understand. This is what I don't understand because I'm actually kind of on his side here. I'm
100% on his side here.
He gets shown
kind
up
of on his side.
He gets shown up by
By
Kansas.
by a one-win college football team.
They get shown up by Kansas. He does the little, all right, fine, let's do this. And then he's talking
that's
trash.
that
That
I'm
was
all
fine.
right with,
And then he's
yeah.
talking trash. He's grabbing himself on the
That's fine.
sideline. And then, still I'm going, you know what? They're the ones that disrespected him. And I get it's a whole national thing and it's a whole, kids look up to you type of thing.
Yeah.
Like, listen, he's a quarterback at Oklahoma State. No kids looking up to him. And if they are, you need to
Oklahoma,
look
not
elsewhere.
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma, sorry. You need to look somewhere else.
I think we need to look at more at the simple fact that this is a 21-year-old kid.
Okay, and then we said this when it came to Manziel as well. And we went, well, he's a
Baker Mayfield
21-year-old
reminds
kid.
me
And
a
look
lot
where
of
that
Johnny
has
Manziel.
gone.
I think Mayfield does not, I don't know how to say this on air appropriately, but Mayfield does not do the extracurricular activities that Manziel
Right.
does.
And they've taken away his senior
fair,
day.
yeah.
He's not going to start, and which was kind of, I guess, clouded over. It's like he's still going to play. He's just not going to
they're
start.
going to hand it off one time. Then he's gonna
I think he'll probably be out for a series, if not a
Yeah.
quarter, because it is the rivalry weekend as well.
Yeah.
So. And he's not going to be a senior this year. He's already come out on a press conference and said how disappointed he is in himself that he's not going to be able to do that. But at the same time, I'm definitely on his side here because you were the one that was shown up on national television by a team that is terrible.
No, I'm actually-
absolutely terrible.
I'll
And
let Mumley get in here.
Go ahead.
because he hasn't
I
spoke.
think the better thing that he could have done would have been to just put 60, 70 points on Kansas.
And they almost did.
Like-
I mean, it's true, and they
like-
almost did. But he also,
Yeah.
we definitely could have done without the gestures,
Everything but
on the
the gest-
sideline.
the gesture,
But I love the
especially
whole
since it was
clap.
picked
The
up
clap
on-
drove me. I was like,
on the
okay, so
camera.
he's ready to
That's-
show it. Yeah.
I don't
That's
mind the
not
gesture on
great,
the
but-
sideline because he went and he tried to do the good. Yeah, let's shake hands. Let's have good sportsmanship. And then he got stood up by a one-win team. At that point, you deserve what you get. And the whole, the whole crotch gesture on the sideline when his team was up by 30 at this point. It's like,
Right.
yeah, you should have just shaken his hand, Kansas. Anybody who's complaining about, Baker Mayfield's being immature. He's a 20-year-old kid and he got disrespected by a one-win football team. I like seeing it. I like seeing that swagger to, hey, not put the middle fingers up in the air, but do the closest thing you can do to that on a sideline when you're beating them by 30. If Kansas isn't going to shake his hand, then Kansas needs to come out and win that football game. They didn't. I'm glad he talked.
I'd put him in his defense as a linebacker and let him go just nail
Still
it.
go off. I do want to get into. We have a special Thanksgiving power rankings coming up, but I actually want to jumpstart to our home field advantage because I want to talk about football for most of the rest of the show. So we're going to go to home field advantage now, and we'll start with Dustin. You said you want to talk a little bit about the All-State volleyball.
Yes, for the second year in a row, Vermont now does this thing where we play New Hampshire's All-State volleyball team.
Kind of like is it the Shrine?
Shrine
Bowl
game. Yes,
for
we
football?
have one of those for volleyball now. In the fall, it is girls volleyball because it's a girls sport, and in the spring, the boys will reconvene and play the boys' New Hampshire team. They played this past weekend at CVU. Stands were packed. I think New Hampshire won. I don't remember. I had to leave early, but it was fun to see. It was fun to see. It was fun to watch. The sport is growing to the
Yeah,
point where
volleyball's definitely growing.
we're playing all-state teams against the best of New Hampshire, the best of Vermont, and we might not be winning, but we're competing, and it's awesome to see. Just a congratulations, Kyla Perry of Enosburg had made that team. She wasn't able to play, but she made that team. So local tie-in there. Enosburg's volleyball team had somebody on the all-state team.
And while we're freezing up here in Vermont, UVM was soaking up the sun down in the Bahamas,
Yeah.
and they did pretty well for a tournament this past weekend.
Yeah, they've been off to a very good start, especially with the first game down in Kentucky, and then they beat Bradley, Coastal Carolina, and North Kentucky in the Bahamas to win a tournament, and that's big for them to win a tournament, and even if it's just an in-season one, because that's big. It definitely boosts like NCAA tournament seeding. I think that can definitely.
And they played well against
Yeah.
a top-ranked
Oh, yeah.
Kentucky
If
team.
What were they
Kentucky
ranked at the
does,
time? 2 or 3?
five?
5? Something
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
that.
if Kentucky has a good year
And
this
actually,
year.
Kentucky's next game, I think they only won by 2 or 3 points. So it was one
Yeah.
of those, okay, do we really get to see the best? I think we just saw the best out of UVM because they took
Oh,
a
yeah.
team like Kentucky to the final minute or so, and then Kentucky goes out the next couple days and barely wins again. It's like, oh, okay,
Well,
maybe they're on that same
look at a team
level.
like UVM, and the only downfall you have is they don't play enough of high stature
Caliber
teams.
games, right.
So, as everyone in sports knows, you
do
play to
have
the
a lot-
talent you're at.
They did put a lot of upper level mid-major teams on their schedule this year. They go to Marquette in a couple of weeks. I know Richmond was on there, a couple more Atlantic 10 games, but a lot of their non-conference games are actually on the road because they couldn't get anybody to come to Patrick Gym.
Shocking.
Surprising.
And then I think
Vermont in the winter? Why not?
in the America East, I think there's no doubt they'll be 16-0 again. I think this is a team that can easily win 30 games again this year and maybe get to an 11 seed in the tournament. 11
That'd be
or 12.
nice.
Yeah, I think that they're definitely going to
Honestly,
have a better year
I wouldn't
this
mind
year.
them though.
They
I wouldn't mind them being a higher seed in the sense of like towards that 13-14 because I mean I love a good upset, and if they're a
true.
team that's going to really fight like they have been the last few years,
And they almost beat Purdue last year. They
is
did
what I mean.
well.
And that was a
They
12
need
or
Kentucky to be
12-4.
good this year. Kentucky
Oh,
needs
yeah.
to stay
if
good
Kentucky
for
has
them
a good year, then
have-
they'll have a
right.
very good
for that
season.
loss to count as something
right
that's
to
good
show that
for 'em.
valid
Quality loss.
Yeah.
losses. For my home field advantage, for staying local, BFA basketball is starting to get going. They got open gym. They're starting to maybe put teams together. I talked with Coach Toof last week. This week we've got Coach Earl from the girls BFA team to find out how their season's going. So we'll listen to that. Home field advantage now with Coach Sean Earl from the BFA girls basketball program. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here.
So I know it's really early in the season, extremely early, but can you give us a glimpse into what's going on either at tryouts or practice or just in your head in general, I guess?
As you stated, it is early in the season. So insight-wise, only thing that we have exposure to at this point in time, we started some open gyms. We like what we see. We definitely see a lot of new faces, which is good. As far as the varsity side of things, we had a few girls that had some surgeries over the summer, and they're slowly getting stronger. So we're hoping to repeat some of the good things that we did last year.
Now, you said new faces. Do you have any returning? Do you have a lot of returning players, or have you lost a lot of seniors from last year?
We lost 3 seniors from last year. So you're talking about a team of 11 that we had. So we have 8 coming back. But of that 8, 3 had surgeries. So we're hoping, like we said, one of our players, Lily McAllister, she blew out her ACL and MCL. So we're hoping to get her back potentially January. I'd say late December, early January. We should have her.
Now, your daughter Hannah was a senior last year, correct?
Yes, we lost. So the 2 seniors, 2 of the 3 seniors were very big contributors, Hannah Earl and Andy Esselin. So we lost them. So we're going to be looking for some leadership to step up this year. Right now, it's up in the air as to who that's going to be, but the girls will have equal opportunity to figure that out.
What's it like for you not to have your own daughter on your roster for like the first time in what 3 years, 3-4 years?
Yeah, at the high school level, 3 years, but pretty much been coaching her off and on her entire career. But I can honestly say, in this moment, hopefully this doesn't come off the wrong way. I'm actually looking forward to it. It's a different dynamic without having her on the team, and it's a new challenge, and I welcome it. To see what we can do with what we have, and as I stated, she and Andy were very strong leaders, and we're going to be looking to replace that leadership this year.
I hate to bring it up, but I kind of have to. Did last year's semifinals against St. Johnsbury leave a bad taste in your mouth this offseason?
It did. It's okay to bring it up because it's one of those things that we need to face. I can honestly say I did not watch the videotape of that game until probably, I'd say August, September of this year. So I didn't want to watch it. And even when I mentioned it to the girls, every single one of them has a bad taste in their mouth from it. So, it's one of those things. You play basketball long enough, and, between me playing and coaching, I've been on both sides of that. And it's something that's going to happen, but it's something that we need to learn from. And, and the girls are going to be hungry again this year because of that.
I mean, if you look at just the past 3 years, semifinals, finals, and semifinals. So it's nothing really to put your nose up at. I mean, you guys are constantly winning. What do you attribute to that kind of success?
A lot of it is just hard work and consistency and getting the girls to buy in. we're fortunate that we have a good group of kids, and they're very easy to work with, and they're willing to learn and put in the time. So when you have that and they all get along, it's easy to be successful. But like you said, going back on the question you asked previously, when I talked to the girls, I said, when you sit back and think about it, our ultimate goal was definitely to win the championship, but we did a lot of things last year. I mean, who's to say, I can't remember how long ago where we ran, any team could beat Essex, Rice, CVU in succession. I think we had a streak there where we were beating them all. And we beat CVU twice and at home, and I don't think CVU had lost there since 2012. So last year was successful. We didn't hit our ultimate goal, but we did a lot of good things, and the girls and their confidence is pointing in the right direction.
Is there a matchup on the calendar that you've had circled already, or you're looking forward to?
I don't have one particular team circled. I'm looking at circling a lot of teams, only because I think this year is going to be just as hard as last year or the year before. There are a lot of teams that have, veteran players on their squad who are seasoned, and they're going to be coming at us. Like you just said, when you're in the semifinals, finals, and semifinals, you're a target. So we were used to chasing people for a while, but I think a lot of people are chasing us and hoping to knock us off and, get their trip to Patrick.
So a big thank you to Coach Earl for spending time to talk about this upcoming season. Again, it's a lot of question marks because you don't really have the tryouts, I guess, if you will. There's a lot of open gyms, so you're kind of getting a sense of who's coming back this year, and same thing with Coach 2 for the boys. But we're excited to take their games live again this year on Northwest Access TV. We'll also be up in Enosburg taking games live, Richford taking games live, and MVU again this year for all of the teams as best as we can. Well, we're looking to hopefully do a game of the week on Northwest Access TV that we can go live
cool,
from, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So looking forward to that. Thanksgiving, in my opinion, it's about the food, it's about the family, and it's about the football. So I want to talk about...
Do we have to put them in that order?
No, it's fine. You can do whatever you want. For my purposes, I'm going to go family food football because my wife would appreciate that. But it's about the football. So for the next half of this, the next rest of this show, I want to talk about football. So it's going to get into our NFL picks because we never seem to have enough time to talk about our NFL picks. We're always kind of rushing. We get through like half of them, and then it's like, all right, let's do it. So let's go to Thursday night football, Thursday afternoon football, Minnesota versus Detroit. And I'm going to go find my pen.
I think the Lions are coming out for an upset here. The Lions always bring a sense of, I don't want to say urgency, but they find a way to up their game on Thanksgiving most of the time.
Yeah.
It's the biggest.
But there's always that one person on that team that helps them up their game who is retired and is not coming through that locker room on Thursday.
It's a 5-4. I think Matt Stafford can have himself
the
a
NFL
game.
should allow it for Thanksgiving.
Just have Calvin Johnson come back for one game.
Yeah.
One week
I just
a year.
said to you, I haven't had a Thanksgiving where I haven't started Des Bryant or Calvin Johnson in like the last 10 years. And it just feels like I'm missing something. I'm missing my best friend on Thanksgiving. I can't watch. So what I do, I pick up Prater for the kicker because I need someone to root for on Thanksgiving.
Did anybody see how the Eagles kicker was hurt Sunday? And they had this
Joe
linebacker who got a touchback because he could kick it off. I was impressed. Backup linebacker can kick touchbacks. That's a skill to have. I'm picking the Lions in this game. I think Matt Stafford goes off. I think this is the Case Keenum blows up game where he throws 3 interceptions and looks bad.
I don't think it's going to be a Case Keenum blow-up game, but I'm going to stick with Detroit as well. At home, Thanksgiving, it's just their game.
I honestly think we've been waiting all year for Case Keenum to explode. I don't think it's happening this year. I think he's sticking. I think he's staying with Minnesota. I'm going to stick with Minnesota. I think he's going to throw another 3 touchdowns, 300 yards. I'm sticking with Case Keenum. I've been on him all year saying, you know what, this is your backup. And the fact that they haven't switched him out for Bridgewater, who apparently is healthy enough to play, shows that they have faith in him as well. So I'm going to stick with Minnesota, especially that defense too.
I love that defense.
So I'm going to go with Minnesota. Nick, your guest picks of the week?
I got to go with Detroit in overtime. I think it's been a really close game.
So that would be that's good because most people have dinner around 1, 2 o'clock, and you kind of miss, for me, you miss a little bit of the game. If it goes to overtime, it's like free football. Yeah. So I get a little bit of extra time. Oh, look, I still get to watch my football game. I like that.
I think Detroit, and 35-28 in overtime, something like that.
A walk-off touchdown is
Yeah.
what we're looking at. Marvin Jones, deep corner. Chargers at Dallas.
This game's awful.
No.
Here's the problem.
Can we pick
is
neither?
that the Chargers came out last week, and were they the big game? That was that weird game against the Bills where they put up
Yeah.
over 50 points.
Yeah.
But then you have Dallas that just hasn't shown up.
Well,
So
see,
do you
the
take a
thing
team
is-
like the Chargers that have randomly come to life?
I'm picking the Chargers.
But it was more of a defensive. They played the Bills. The Bills Prescott's not going to go out there and
five
throw 5
interceptions
picks.
from the Bills quarterback.
It won't be out there. But
Five.
Chargers have
first
been a
half.
good team all season. You have to remember all their losses are really by like a point or two. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think
they've
the
been
Chargers are
close
3.
games.
I don't look at them as a 3-16.
I look at how gassed Prescott has been lately, and especially last week. Then you have this past Sunday, and then you want him to play in 3 days, and again put that offense on his back. I don't see
Without
him
his
being
main
able to do
weapons.
that.
And I think
Without his
Prescott
main
has been
weapons.
making
So
some.
I'm going with the Chargers this week. I think
I
that
am
they're
too.
a healthier and more established.
I'm picking
team.
the Chargers because I think Prescott's been making some really bad reads. He had a couple.
I just think he's
interceptions
exhausted.
against the-
Honestly, he
had
doesn't
that-
have anyone to hand. I mean, I know Morris still had like 80-something yards or something like
Well,
that.
he had an interception against the Eagles where he literally just threw it to their defensive back. Like there was no Cowboy, and he's made just some awful reads the last couple weeks. I think the Chargers, coming off that 5-in performance, can get a couple ins, and I think they can win this game.
I think they win it easy.
Yeah, watching the Cowboys is always
Chargers? Okay.
watching the Cowboys is always the worst part of my Thanksgiving. So give me the Chargers.
Giants, and actually that's a CBS game, so I believe Romo will be doing that game, which would be again
Romo
always a little
homecoming.
weird watching him do his own team. But
Especially
again,
when
all
Prescott
year
throws 3
it's
picks
been
in the
just so
first
much
half.
fun to listen to him.
And he started chanting
I
Romo's
really
name.
enjoyed his commentary for the Patriots.
Did anyone
game.
listen to
Oh, yeah.
Greg Olson's?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
didn't
he
get a
was
chance.
fantastic.
I didn't get a
Oh.
chance. We even talked about that last year. If it was last week, if it was like, should he have been able to do it or not? And I didn't get a chance to listen to it. Giants at Redskins for your Sunday night blowout.
I'll take
this
Philly.
Is this when you go to bed early? You're just like,
I mean, the Giants just won against the Chiefs last week, right?
Did they score a
Did
touchdown?
they really win? Or did the Chiefs just never show up?
I don't know.
I had, listen, on a fantasy standpoint, I had Antonio Brown go off for 45 points on Thursday night, and I'm looking at Alex Smith and Tyreek Hill versus the Giants on Sunday, and I'm going, I got this week in the bag. And what happens? Nothing happens. Alex Smith says, I don't really feel like playing. Here's a couple picks to end my day. It was terrible. This was supposed to be the softball on your schedule. To go out there, throw 300 yards, bring back that whole Alex Smith, I'm in charge, I'm bringing back the AFC here, and they threw up
Tanked.
against the Giants.
I don't trust the Redskins. I'm taking the Giants.
I have more faith in the Skins than I
I
do in
have
the
no
Giants.
faith in the Skins at home.
I feel like if I'm going,
this is my upset pick of the week.
I don't know, man. If I'm going,
This
you know what?
this
It's
is such a
Thanksgiving. It's
giant-
Thanksgiving. I'm gonna go with the Redskins. That's how I'm gonna say.
I don't think a touchdown will be scored in this game. Give me the Redskins.
You might be right.
I think it'll either be there's no touchdown scored or it's like 51-40.
Give me the
Giants?
Redskins like
Yeah, I said
15-3 or something like that.
Oh, you do like a field goal off.
Oh, man.
It's like left-handed layups when no one's making free throws.
Can we just not have offenses?
Yeah, just
The entire game is nothing but
just
kicking.
defense. Just
What
keep
if we
it-
just
Whoever
punt
misses.
the entire game and see who can get a punt return touchdown first?
Then
That would be probably more exciting than the actual game.
So we all go to sleep early on Thursday. We wake up Friday. Some people go Black Friday shopping. I get that second helping of
I watch
Thanksgiving.
college football on Friday. and
On
get my
Thanksgiving,
second
we have
favorite.
rivalry weekend for college football, which is great. I think is it Alabama and Auburn 1-6 or
It's
1
a nervous
versus
weekend for
something
me,
like that?
Michigan and Ohio State.
Michigan,
but,
Ohio
yeah.
State, and that's Michigan's at 24, 23 as a ranking.
Something like that.
Ohio
they
State
can-
still has a shot.
Right, but this is
to make
there's
it.
that spoiler for Michigan where they really haven't done much this entire year. Let's really put it out there and let's take it to our rival for one more time. It'd be great. But then come Sunday, there's more football. Thankfully, there's more stuff to talk about. Tampa Bay at Falcons, a Falcons team that came into Seattle on Monday Night Football.
Should have
and
lost.
Should have lost. Didn't beat the Seattle at home, which is always been, stop playing with that thing.
Can't help it.
All I'm hearing is. For people that don't know, we have little, I call them little nubbin things that keep the table
Nubbin
together,
things.
and he won't stop playing with it. So stop it. Tampa Bay at Atlanta.
Atlanta. Bucks are not good. The Bucks are
I think that's
bad.
kind of how you have to look at it. Atlanta is showing a little problem, but I mean, they did. It's a shorter week for them. It's not as short as a Thursday night football short week for them. But I just don't see anything from the Bucks.
I think Atlanta's kind of starting to figure it out too a little bit.
I think Atlanta looks like the team that lost in the Super Bowl. They can put up points, and then they just stop playing football and lose.
But they'll still get to the Super Bowl. If that's the team that you're looking at, then.
I mean, they beat the Dolphins, but at the same time, it's like it's the Dolphins.
Part of me wants to pick Tampa Bay.
And it's Fitzpatrick that plays the Dolphins. He played the Dolphins twice a year for what, 3 or 4 years? So
Do it. Do it.
I'm going to go with Tampa Bay.
Do it.
ugh.
Yes.
No, I'm gonna stick with the Falcons. I'm gonna drink the Kool-Aid. I'm gonna say, oh, this team looks like they're back. They're gonna be home. Their home that used to be home is now no longer there. All the bad juju from the old Falcons is gone. I think
the third worst
destroying the
implosion in
Georgia
the
Dome was
history.
good for this Falcons organization. Now they can just hang out in the Mercedes-Benz Dome and just live life. I think that's.
I'm living off the idea that Fitzpatrick has his Fitzpatrick magic coming off the bench and making his team do well until he becomes the starter.
I don't see it.
All right. Next game.
No, you didn't say anything. Did you
I said Falcons.
Oh, you said Falcons.
I
Nick?
gotta think Falcons too. I don't want to,
I
but
hate you all. You're on
can't pick Tampa
all
Bay.
by myself. Cleveland at Cincinnati.
Woo-hoo! Cleveland gets win one this week.
Oh my God.
I'm booking it. I'm booking it. I'm going upsets.
No.
I would love
Picking winners.
picking winners.
Go Browns.
Thanksgiving's all about being home with family. I'm gonna go with the home team. I'm not gonna do that for all these games because wait till you see who's the home team. But I'm gonna go with the Bengals for this one.
Yeah, I'll go with the Stripes.
I could never in my right mind pick the Browns. Sorry, Dustin.
That's okay. You did it all 16 weeks last year. 17
Hey,
weeks
it was
last year.
fun.
No, it wasn't. You would have won last season if you had.
I know.
Tennessee at Indianapolis.
Tennessee. Colts are bad.
Yeah, I can't pick the Colts. Got to go with Tennessee.
I know you're
Yeah,
thinking about it.
I am.
Pick 'em.
But I'll
Pick
go
the
with
Colts.
Tennessee.
I'm gonna go with.
Go.
I would like to pick the Colts because
'em.
I still have a little bit of faith in that offense.
Yeah, I
little
have
bit.
a lot of it.
But
That's great.
But everyone else is picking Tennessee, and I don't really feel like taking a loss this week, so I'm going to go Tennessee. Buffalo against Kansas City. The
I
two
don't
teams,
know.
the
know.
Week 11 teams that just didn't show up.
I don't know. Do you start Tyrod Taylor this week?
They said that they might.
No, I think you start
I
Nathan
think
If
Peterman.
McDermott decides to start this guy who threw 5 interceptions and a half, fire him in year one.
That Chargers
It's
team,
just
that defense.
It's the stupidest decision ever. Like, we're going to play a rookie. He throws 5 ints. We're going to watch the tape. He did some good things. You're an idiot. All right? I'm picking the Chiefs because I'm mad at McDermott for starting.
I'm picking the Chiefs because I really need Alex Smith to do well this week.
I need
help
Hill.
my fantasy.
I need
Hill to do well this week. So it's one of those. I'm not gonna take that a win-win type of situation. Take the Bills. No, I don't see anything that's happening with the Bills right now. So.
No, I'm with you.
Nathan Peterman, he starts. He has a bounce back week, throws 5 touchdowns, and the Bills win.
I will say,
If that
and
happens, I'll love it.
I will say, Peterman, 3 of his picks were not on him.
Right.
They were bad mistakes from either the receiver or the
On
running
this show,
back.
we do like to weigh that a little more.
Yeah, we like to let 5 pick. You know,
we
3 of
just
them weren't
go-
his fault.
We don't just go by the stat line. Is what I'm trying to. Dustin does because he's strong-headed.
Well,
but
he just
we
he
actually-
thinks everybody sucks.
66 yards, definitely, good tape right there. Good tape right there.
So, and they also lost their number 1 receiver in the first play of the game. So there are sideline things for them, but the Bills just struggle. But I do hope for Peterman that he has a good game because he deserves to.
I don't care either way. Miami at New England.
Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going with the Pats as well.
I don't know.
Oh, don't. I don't know.
Shut up.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go with
Jay Cutler, is Jay Cutler even playing?
Yeah,
Jake
he's still
Cutler.
playing.
No, he hasn't
Because
passed
he
the
got
concussion
hurt.
Oh, no,
protocol.
more,
He
right.
got
More
hurt,
starting? Yeah, I don't think so.
It doesn't matter who they start. Patriots by 30.
By 30. Nick with the hot takes
Bold.
today. Carolina at the Jets.
Just want to take this moment, because I know the Panthers are going to win this game. Cam Newton fed 800 kids this week, Thanksgiving meals, 800 unfortunate kids.
What a
You know who
guy.
also did that? Matthew McConaughey. No one's talking about that.
Talk about it. Panthers going to win.
Panthers.
Give me the Jets.
Whoa!
Be different.
Chicago at Philly.
Whoa, Chicago. Not Chicago.
Oh, no! It's in! Don't eat your
I said
words!
Philly. I
No,
said
no, you
Philly.
didn't! Come on!
I meant to say Philly.
All right.
Just Chicago came
Yeah,
out
I'm
first.
going with that. I'm just putting everyone's name down. Great. Awesome. New Orleans at the Rams.
This
It's
is
gonna
a
be a good
game of the week right here.
This is going to be interesting.
This should have been the Thursday night game.
Rams are going to bounce back. Saints are due for a loss. 8 wins in a row. I think Rams bounce back at home. win a 35-31 thriller.
I don't know who I want to pick in this game.
I want both teams to win.
I'm on that Saints train, man. I'm on
I
that.
want both teams to
Who
win.
dat?
They are just strong. Their defense. The one thing
They're
that no one
fun.
has talked about with that team is their defense looks good.
Yeah, I'm all for the Saints. I'm
I'm gonna go with the Saints as well.
I gotta go with. I would say St. Louis, but they're not in St. Louis anymore,
No,
so
it's
I'll
good
go with
LA.
the Rams.
Oh, Ram.
Wouldn't have been such a crazy travel. They could just, next time. Seattle at San Francisco.
Seattle.
Thanks, Dustin, for your quick reasoning.
What do you want me to? You want me to talk of the 49ers here? Come on.
Yeah, come on, man. All they need to do is pick up Kaepernick, and they're going to win 6 games this year.
They're 1-9.
Jerk. I'm also taking Seattle because
Seattle, yeah.
everyone's going.
I love you, Paul.
Jaguars at Cardinals.
Jaguars win. Cardinals do not look good at all right now.
I think the quarterback change was stupid for them.
I thought Stanton was hurt.
That Jaguars defense is one of the best. I think is the best in the league right now. So I'm going to go with the
Well, the
Jaguars.
best
Yeah,
scoring
I never
defense.
thought I would
And
ever
against
pick
someone
the
like
Jacksonville
Gabbert,
Jaguars for
that-
anything.
Oh, they're gonna
but
eat them apart.
Sure, yeah, I'll take
Gabbard's throwing 4 picks against his old team.
Denver at Oakland.
Book it. Hate picking against Brock. Go Raiders.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as much as Oakland didn't really show this last week, I still think they're kind of the better team, especially at home.
My
Denver-
only
Denver's
curious
really
point
bad.
is what's his face looked pretty banged up.
Carr.
Carr looked pretty banged up.
I think they can still beat him without Carr.
Because I look at what's on the other side of that center for
Yeah,
Denver, and I go, it ain't much better.
Nah, yeah, we'll go.
Terrible.
Oakland. I'll let you talk me into it.
Packers at Steelers.
Steelers.
Should have been a good game at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
No longer.
Eh,
a good
no one
game.
cares.
Yeah,
DP.
Steelers.
Another night game that we won't watch.
And the other one that we won't watch, Houston at Baltimore for Monday Night Football.
I'm riding or dying on my team. Go Texans.
I think I'm going to take the Texans too. I don't know why.
I'm gonna go with
It's
Baltimore.
just Joe Flacco is terrible. I hate Joe Flacco.
Wait, he's still
They beat
alive
they
after
beat
what
the
the
Packers.
Dolphins did to him?
Yeah.
They beat the Packers. You know what? I'm going to change my pick because even Gabbert made Houston look silly. Now, what would an elite quarterback like Joe Flacco do?
Oh God.
So I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens as well. Nick?
Yeah, I'll go with Houston.
Houston. So those are our picks for the week. We're going to start our 2-minute warning a little early now because we want to talk about Thanksgiving power rankings. Dustin had this idea yesterday. So Dustin, we'll start off. We'll just go around the table. Give me your 5th, your 4th, your 1. We'll just go around the table. Who's your number 5?
All right, number 5, sweet potatoes.
Okay. JT, what's your 5th? I like that they're down below. I like that they're on like the bottom of your list.
I'm gonna put 5th is not something that I enjoy. 5th is gonna be the one Thanksgiving food that I hate, and that's stuffing.
Yeah, I think, you know what? Stuffing's
How?
not even on
You
my
hate
list.
stuffing?
Stuffing is at 1 in my list.
Stuffing's not even on my list.
How? I'll have to go with the that cranberry sauce stuff.
See, I'm going great. Now, for me, it was the roll. The roll brings this all together, people. You don't
Roll,
forget about
roll,
the roll
I
because
got-
that roll that's their last piece of the whole food.
I got roll at 4.
All right, 4. You got roll.
I got rolls at 4.
4.
I'm gonna go with we do a maple baked maple carrot.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that sounds so good.
Glazed like carrot.
Oh,
I like
so
that.
good.
For me, I put a potato. I think there's a couple things that I would put above that, but you need a nice. I don't like the chunky potato, like a nice smooth thing. I don't even care if it's honestly for me. I don't even care if it's instant potato because it's not really it's not the shows and not the number one thing on the plate. It's just there to kind of bring some stuff together. So
I got to go with potato as well. You make some good points.
number 3 on your
Turkey.
list.
Obviously the main point of the meal. I put turkey as my number 3.
Number 3,
We do cheesy broccoli.
cheesy broccoli.
Love my cheesy broccoli.
You and your like healthy, not healthy things. I actually went with turkey
Exactly.
too because there are a couple things that I like more than the turkey. And,
Same
and
thing.
honestly, you go to someone's Thanksgiving, and for me, I've been very, very fortunate. I go to Thanksgiving. Turkey's great. We deep fry it. It's fantastic, but it's not the thing I'm looking forward to the most.
Turkey's not the make or break for me.
No.
I got to go with the roll.
Bring back the roll. Everyone likes to bring the roll back in. And then number 2,
It's a good
Gravy.
compliment.
Dustin, we're thinking alike
Got the
here.
gravy
Man.
on
We're
the
thinking
show.
alike. I put gravy as my number 2 as my number 2 as well because that brings the whole plate together. You bring that Brady. You can go on anything. I put in the cranberry sauce. I don't care.
And there's never
It's
enough.
just delicious. It is never enough.
All right,
It's
all right,
just
that's a
not-
little-
Okay, you got to
It's
stop.
all too far.
on everything. It's all like, it all goes to the same place. It doesn't really matter.
Exactly.
And then number 1 on your list?
I have stuffing as number 1 on my
Ugh,
list.
get outta
Stuffing.
here.
I love stuffing.
Stuffing? No.
Yeah.
All right, so I have turkey as number 2,
Yeah.
and I've got mashed potatoes and gravy as my number
You have a
1.
combo. My number 1, people, you got to think smart about this. It's that second plate, man. Come on, that second plate is that's the whole show. That you go really quickly through that first plate. You go, I'm really stuffed. Bert. Okay, no, actually, I'm ready for number 2. You sit down, you watch a little football, you have your second plate, and then the leftovers the next day. Oh,
The key though is you have to eat quick.
yes,
I just want to say
so that your stomach doesn't
cranberry
have time.
sauce sucks. And
No.
that's
No,
all I got
no,
for this.
it's
show.
cranberry.
fantastic.
Yum.
That's not the last thing that's going to be said on this. It's Tebow should probably be a starter in the NFL. That's going to do it for us on the Huddle Up. Dustin, JT, Nick, special guest, Paul. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, everybody.